The 2024 Michigan Senate race is slowly turning into one of the most competitive of the year. What is up, people of the internet? It is me, Real American, back in with a new video, and today it is time to talk about the 2024 Michigan Senate race because the Michigan Senate race was originally seen as one that, while Republicans could technically win, it was very unlikely. But for the past couple of months, we have been getting consistent polling to show, no, this race is not, a Democrat blowout. In fact, there's a good possibility that Republicans could win the Michigan Senate race and in turn win back control of the U.S. Senate, which is kind of crazy to think that Michigan might be a state that helps Republicans gain back the Senate. But as of now, there's a good possibility that while they're not the favorites in the state, they could win the Michigan Senate race. Now, before we continue with today's video, I hope you enjoy these type of videos. If you do, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit that little bell, follow the social media accounts in the description down below, and of course, join the channel today. Again, folks, all support is greatly appreciated, and yeah. Now, to be clear, I am not saying that Republicans are for sure going to win the Senate race in Michigan, but based off of current polling data, there's a good chance that at the bare minimum, this might be one of the closest races of the night. So let's get into it. Elissa Slotkin had less than a half an hour to reckon with a retirement announcement that would reshape Michigan's political landscape. The state's senior senator and the third-ranking Democrat in the chamber, Debbie Stabenow, was about to reveal that she would retire in 2024. And this was the first sign that Republicans would have some kind of chance here, or at least a far better shot of winning. Just for the simple fact that Debbie Stabenow was not running again. Granted, she was probably going to have her weakest performance in years, but she was still going to win by a significant margin, especially for Michigan standards. But when she announced her retirement, this was a sign that, hey, it's unlikely still, but maybe Republicans could theoretically win in the state of Michigan. Representative Slotkin, a Democratic congresswoman from Hawley, soon met with her team to mobilize for a run at the U.S. Senate seat that Democrats had not expected would be hard to defend. And that's for the fact that Stabenow was gonna win. They didn't think, oh, we're gonna have to invest $200 million into Michigan because Debbie Stabenow is gonna win. There's no shot of her losing. But she announced out of left field that, oh no, I'm not running. Now, granted, Slotkin is still, at least when it comes to fundraising, a strong recruit. I mean, she is a good fundraiser. She fundraised a lot of money. And that's why Democrats right off the bat said, you're a pick. You're going to be our nominee in Michigan because you could fundraise. And it seems like the entire party got behind her right off the bat. But there is some problems with Representative Slotkin. The simple fact is, Michigan is ground zero for the anti-Israel protests, or at least the pro-Palestine protests, whatever you want to call it. And Slotkin has been very clear that she's pro-Israel. And that's pissing off a lot of Democrats in Michigan. Granted, she's still the favorite, but there's plenty of Democrats in Michigan that support Palestine. They think Palestine needs to be freed, the war should end. They're not happy with Slotkin. It took Michigan Republicans longer to find the frontrunner, and that was because, the GOP in Michigan was a mess. I mean, you had like 3 factions fighting for control of it. Kristina Karamo was a joke as chairwoman. I think to this day, she still thinks she's the chairwoman of the Michigan Republican Party. She was a disaster, and that's why, for a while, no one wanted to run. Like, why would anyone want to run in Michigan when your state party is like that? When Kristina Karamo burnt through tens of millions of dollars on God knows what. That's why it took a while for us to find someone worth a damn. But thankfully, we did get Mike Rogers out of retirement. Now, Congressman Rogers is not the best option. He's not the best on the issues. There are some issues that, in fact, he's kind of bad on. But compared to some of the alternatives of the realistic options, he was overall the best option. The endorsement of former President Trump gave Rogers a clear shot at winning his party's primary without drowning in the inter-party conflict that has plagued the Michigan GOP in recent years. And yeah, the endorsement of Trump, that sealed it. That he was not going to lose the primary at that point. Yes, you still have Justin Amash running, but the entire party is getting behind Mike Rogers, and that's a good thing. We should not have to spend $50 million on a primary when you know Mike Rogers is going to win. Now, Justin Amash is going to try, and Peter Meyer tried as well, but he realized there's no pathway here. Trump's endorsement, that's enough for Rogers to win. And even then, he had name recognition. It seemed like he was going to win even before the Trump endorsement, but the endorsement really sealed the primary. Both Slotkin and Rogers have opponents in the August 6th primary, but they also have advantages that make a 2nd November showdown likely in a key swing state. With Trump and President Biden poised to slug it out for the state's indispensable 15 electoral votes at the top of the ticket, the unexpected fight for Michigan's open Senate seat could say a lot about what the winner will be dealing with once he's sworn in for a second term. This race is going to go down the wire, said former Republican Representative Fred Upton. This is going to be two heavyweights in a positive way. They really know the issues and will go toe-to-toe on them. Now, from everything I know about this race, from what I've heard at least, it seems like that while Slotkin is fundraising a lot more than Mike Rogers, which that's not a surprise. Slotkin has always been a good fundraiser. It seems like Mike Rogers is running a better campaign overall. And the reason I say that is very simple. A lot of progressives are not happy with Slotkin. Granted, she is pulling at like 70% of the Democrat side, but it seems like there's 30% of Democrat voters, most of them are progressives, mind you, they just will refuse to vote for Slotkin in the primary, no matter what. They hate her. I don't know what she said to piss them off. My guess it's the war in Israel. She supports Israel. A little too much, I guess. And these progressive voters, Muslim voters, they don't like her for it. And that's why she might have a problem in the general. Now, to be clear, I am not saying, she's going to lose 30% of her voters. But even if she loses like 10%, like let's say a chunk of progressives and Muslim voters that are going to back Hill Harper, the progressive in this race, if they just don't vote for Slotkin, that's more than enough for her to lose. In other words, facing the same problem as Biden at the top of the ticket. I really think you're going to see Slotkin and Biden run nearly identical. Maybe Slotkin does like a point better, maybe. But even then, if Trump wins a state by 2, there's a good shot Trump carries Mike Rogers over the top. There is a good shot of that happening. Now, to be clear, I still think Slotkin is the clear favorite for a multitude of reasons. The biggest reason is this is Michigan. This state voted for Biden by 3 points in 2020. Now, there's many polls this year showing Michigan might be Biden's worst Rust Belt state of the big 3, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. But there's many polls showing Michigan might be the worst state for Biden. Like, he's going to do awful there compared to Wisconsin, compared to Pennsylvania. And that's because of the Muslim backlash, because of the progressive backlash, which is much more significant in Michigan because of, Dearborn. But even with that, Slotkin's biggest advantage is she can fundraise. I mean, she's fundraised, like $11 million or something? It's crazy. While, Mike Rogers has fundraised, $1 million, despite getting the Trump endorsement. And that's the biggest problem for Rogers. He cannot be outspent by 10-1 margins. He just can't. Now, do I think it's still early and, things can change and that was before the Trump endorsement? Maybe. That's why he fundraised so bad? I guess. But you still cannot be outspent this much. I mean, Slotkin back in March had $8 million cash on hand, while Rogers had maybe $1 million. That's not good. You can't just get outspent and out fundraised that much. Democrats will always have that advantage, especially with someone like Slotkin being the Democrat. But you still should not be fundraising this poorly. You should be fundraising a lot better. But it is early. You know, maybe Republicans have a fundraising surge later this year. Maybe the second quarter was way better than the first. And I would assume so, because ever since the first quarter, Rogers has virtually united the entire party. He has. The only major opponent left is Justin Amash, and I don't see him going anywhere. And same thing for Slotkin. But oddly enough, I think Slotkin has a bigger problem. Because, yes, a lot of these voters in the Republican side, I should say a lot, but like, let's just say 30% vote for someone like Justin Amash. Well, those 30% of voters, I think they're going to vote for Mike Rogers, at least the vast majority. I don't think they're going to vote against Mike Rogers in the general. They don't hate the guy. It's like they may disagree with him, but they don't outright hate him. But at the same time, right, on the Democrat side, you might have like 20 to 30% of Democrats voting against Slotkin, mostly progressives. Again, it could be more, could be less, but let's say somewhere in the range of 20 to 30%. The problem for Slotkin is, unlike the 30% of Republicans that are going to vote against Mike Rogers in the primary, the 30% of Democrats voting against Slotkin, they are gung-ho about it. They're saying, we are not going to support you, no matter what, especially with what's happening in Israel. Because of any state in America, you could argue that whatever happens in Israel will have the biggest impact in Michigan. Just for the simple fact that you have a large progressive population, but also, more importantly, a large Muslim population. That's a bad combination for Elisa Slotkin and even Joe Biden. That's why they're having big problems in Michigan. And on top of all of this, the Green Party is probably going to run someone. Like, they're going to pick someone to run, and he or she's not going to win, obviously. They're going to get like 1%, maybe. But that 1% are mostly going to come from progressives and Muslims. In other words, voters of Slotkin, or what should be supporters for Slotkin, are going to vote against her and vote for someone in the Green Party. That's why this is a big problem for Democrats. That's why they're starting to realize, oh crap, there's a chance we can lose here. Just for the fact that Michigan has been a disaster for Democrats the past 5 months. It is clear there's a significant protest vote. Will that continue up to November? We just got to see, but as of now, there's no signs of this significant protest vote just stopping. There's a good shot these same people just don't vote for Democrats this November. Anyways, folks, thank you so much for watching. If you guys did enjoy this video, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit that little bell, follow the social media accounts in the description down below, and of course, join the channel today. Godspeed to all of you.